Are you ready to redefine what it means to thrive at any age? Welcome to Age is Just a Number with BJ and Ruth. In your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, you deserve to live your best life. Say goodbye to preconceived notions and let's shatter those stereotypes together. Get ready to own your vitality because age, well, that's just a number.
Hey everybody, it's BJ.
And Ruth.
And we're back talking about health and fitness and helping you accomplish your health and fitness goals. And just want to thank all of our subscribers. And if you haven't, please take a minute, subscribe to our channel. We are building something here that is a community for everybody, but specifically about achieving your health and fitness goals in your 40s and in your 50s and beyond. And I think we've really hit that whole myth that you can't build muscle in your 40s and 50s. You can't be fit in your 40s, 50s, and 60s.
You can't be fit, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, for Ruth, you started your whole bodybuilding fitness journey in your 40s.
At 40. Yeah, at age 40, that was the first time I walked into the weight room at the gym and picked up my first dumbbell. And
then your last competition, which was also the UFE World Championship, which you won.
Yeah.
Was you? How old were you?
I was 50.
You were 50.
And I was competing against women who were half my age because my category is an open age category. So, you know, when we title our podcast, Age is Just a Number, it really is. I would never say, well, you know, I knew I was up against women who were half my age, and it didn't matter. I was competing against me and trying to be my best version of me.
Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't matter what the number is.
Yeah. So today we want to specifically talk about something that relates to just that, adding muscle in your 40s and 50s and beyond, which is simply 4 things that you can be doing right now that could be limiting your ability to gain muscle in your 40s or 50s. Or you could even say it this way: I'm training, I've gone to the gym, I'm working out, I'm not seeing gains, I'm not seeing, I'm not seeing more muscle, I'm not getting stronger, whatever the case might be, what's going on. So we want to talk about 4 things that, now it may be one of these things, it could be all of these things. There's no set like you've done or you're not doing 1 or 2 things. You have to figure this out for yourself. What is your schedule and lifestyle look like as we break these things down? So let's start with number 1. The number 1 reason that you may not be making gains in the gym is nutrition. You know, the saying,
can't out-train a bad diet.
I was just about to say that. You know, the saying we always say is you can't out-train a bad diet.
It's very true.
And so what are we talking about when we say nutrition? Because that's a pretty broad subject. But I think there's some fundamentals that are vital to growing muscle in the nutrition plan. And I would say number 1 is protein, is making sure that you're consuming enough protein. And we did, I know we've done an episode where we talked specifically about protein intake and content and timing and things like that. But I think the rule of thumb that you can think about is just a simple one, is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Mm-hmm. And what you can also do, you know, some of these calculators, BMI calculators and things like that, are not necessarily accurate because they don't take into account, we've talked about that as well, as far as what's the best means of knowing what you've got for body fat and things like that.
Yeah.
But you can still use an online BMI, for example, just to get a rough number to say, okay, here's let's say I want to be 180 pounds muscle-wise, so I'm going to eat my protein intake towards that 180 pounds, right? That'd be an easy way to just give yourself some broad general guidelines. We're not talking about you're going into a competition at the end of the year, because if you are, then that's a whole different animal. You need to probably have a coach and somebody, or at least if not a coach, somebody who knows what they're doing to help you with your diet.
At least the knowledge. So if you don't have that knowledge yourself, get someone to support that you can go to for support that has that knowledge for you.
Yeah. So when we talk about nutrition, there's making sure you're getting enough protein. Here's another one, is making sure you're getting enough calories. Because sometimes, I think, especially for women, they can cut their calories back thinking that's going to help them, and it actually becomes the opposite.
Yeah.
Right? You're cutting the calories, and as a result, your body starts to...
You cut too much, and now your body's going to hold. It's not going to let go. It's not going to...
Yeah.
Not going to lose.
And in that moment, your body will hold on to the fat and burn the muscle.
Always.
Right? So you always want to make sure that you're getting enough calories. And again, you can use that BMR index to figure out what that number is roughly for calories that you should be taking in. And then I think another part of the nutrition in that is also making sure that you're getting quality carbs, right? So, there's a difference between high glycemic carbs that hit your system just like that, and spike your insulin and give you instant energy, versus one that's a low glycemic carb that will make you feel, it's more constant with the blood sugar, makes you feel full longer. And your muscles can use that more effectively, right? Mm-hmm. And with that, I think this is a huge one, is sugar. And I know this, you and your appreciation for candies, mm-hmm. Sugar is the thing, right? So yeah. You need to really be aware of what's happening for sugar in your diet and where it's hidden in your nutrition plan. A lot of sauces, you need to look at what you're having for sauces. If you're just buying it out of a bottle, that's fine, but just be aware of what it is you're consuming. Read the label, yeah. And it becomes really important to always look at the back, turn the package around, read the label, yeah, so you know what you're actually eating. Yeah. Okay, so that's number one. The number one thing that can be affecting your ability to gain muscle in your 40s, 50s, and beyond is your nutrition. And that's everything from having enough protein to having enough calories to not having a whole bunch of sugar and excess calories, we could say, that aren't going to help you. So, all right, number two, are you doing appropriate resistance training? So, I can go to the gym and just, pick a weight that doesn't really require much effort, and I can go ahead and do a whole bunch of sets with that weight or those weights. They're going to have some benefit, I guess, right? There's going to be some minimal benefit to that, but that's not enough to cause my body to grow, right? Yeah. So you need to, when you go to the gym and put yourself under, it's called resistance training for a reason, because there needs to be resistance when you do it. And that has to do with the weight that you use. It also has to do with technique and form, and making sure you're using the right form, making sure, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, we had a good laugh about how for some people, shoulder shrugs is a calf exercise as well for some people. So, because you'll see them get to the top and then they'll do a calf raise at the end, not because they're trying to do calf work, because they're trying to get higher on their traps. So making sure that you know what muscles you're working and what those exercises are doing and what they should be doing. So if you're going to the gym, make sure that you're putting your muscles under strain, under tension, under resistance, and there's some intensity required. If I could do a set and have a coffee at the same time, if I could do that, then that's not going to do a whole lot for me, muscle-wise, right? Exactly, and use your body as your body will tell you. If you put in the effort and it wasn't heavy, it wasn't a big enough effort, you're not going to feel pleasantly. I always say I want to feel pleasantly sore the next day. Yeah. So if I trained legs, I want to wake up the next morning feeling pleasantly sore. I don't want to be incapacitated, like so sore I can't move, but I want to know that I got them, I hit them, I affected them. So for the next 48 hours, it's feeling that pleasantly sore. If I trained back and I don't feel any soreness in my lats or any soreness in my erectors, well then I didn't feel like I actually affected them. So I use that. I use my body to tell me. Yeah. And then if you're not feeling sore, then up the effort, increase it. The effort, you can up the effort in a number of different ways, right? You could do pre-exhaust work before we'll talk about multi-joint exercises in a minute, but you can do pre-exhaust work. We'll do a different episode where we talk about these kind of things because they're a little bit more advanced in terms of ways to up your effort, like pre-exhausting, doing drop sets, and having somebody to give you through force reps and things like that.
Right.
So we'll talk about that, but the whole point is when you're doing the exercise, you need to be under strain. It shouldn't be easy, right? Maybe you're doing, now here's the thing to understand. You need to know what rep range you're going for. So if it's a higher rep range, you need to be feeling a burn at the end, even if it's easy at the start, right?
Right.
So,
and you need to also choose your weight wisely. So if you're choosing a weight that's too light, like if you go through 10 reps and you could have done 10 more, it was too light.
Yeah.
It's not effective.
Yeah, unless it's a complete warm-up set, because the warm-up set's like a throwaway. You don't count that as a work set anyway, right?
Right.
So, okay. So we're talking about progressive resistance and intensity. So that means the weight needs to get heavier. If you're lifting the same weight today that you were lifting 6 months ago, that's not progressive resistance. You should increase the weight a little bit from, even if it's month to month, or increase the intensity somehow from workout to workout.
And I always used the idea that every 6 weeks I was going to change the training, so my body didn't get used to it, didn't plateau. So I'd always try to be one step ahead. So every 6 weeks, look at what you've been doing, change it up. There's new exercises, new. Change the grip, change the angle, change the weight, change the exercise. Keep accountable. Know what you're doing. Go in with a purpose. Go in with a plan.
Right.
And change the plan if it's not working.
Sure. Okay. And so this is number 3, but it goes in with the whole part about the gym and resistance training. Is maybe another thing that you're not doing is you're not doing enough large multi-joint exercises. So going to the gym and doing a whole bunch of arm curls, sure, you're going to get some benefit in your biceps, but the overall effect for your whole body is pretty minimal, right? It's an isolated muscle, it's an isolated exercise just for your biceps. But when we talk about large multi-joint exercises, so we're talking about bench press, deadlift, squats, shoulder press. These are bigger movements that engage a whole bunch of muscles and will add to your overall muscularity and your overall ability to add muscle.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward. I know.
It's straightforward. And for anyone who's watching, if we're talking about diet, if we're talking about nutrition, we're talking about grams of protein, we're talking about these the effort that you're putting into the gym with your workouts. We're talking about the compound movement exercises. If we're talking over your head, what we're saying is going right over your head and you don't know what we're speaking a foreign language to you, get a trainer. Yeah. Surround yourself with someone who can offer you guidance. It's the best investment you can ever do.
Absolutely. 100%.
If for those of you that are hearing us and going, yep, you're actually, I know this language, I haven't been doing it, following it, and we're kind of throwing you old information that is you're going to incorporate, fabulous. But for anyone that is hearing this, that if we're completely talking a foreign language, reach out to us, and we can even help you find a trainer or some guidance that will help you get going and help you understand what we're talking about. Yeah,
and the other thing is stick around, because we're going to be covering this stuff as we go moving forward in more detail. We can't do everything in every video, so we're going to spend some time going to the gym and doing some large multi-joint exercises so you get to see what that looks like. So stick around, and we'll get to some of those things as well. So to review, you're going to the gym and you're not seeing any progress, especially if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s. Number one, assess your nutrition. What does that look like? What's your protein intake like? What's your calorie intake like? What's your carbohydrate intake like? Pardon me. What we could say with that is, what are your macros? And that's a little bit not preliminary, figuring out macros and stuff, but that's where a coach can help you with that. Number two, what is the resistance and progressive resistance and intensity that you're putting your muscles under at the gym? Okay. Number three, we just talked about large multi-joint exercises. If you're not, you should be doing large multi-joint exercises. So this is for you to evaluate and say, okay, I'm not doing these things. So for example, if I go to the gym and all I do is calf work, well, I'll have great calves, but I won't have overall, when I do squats, I won't have the overall effect that squats will do for both, for my legs, for my core, for my upper body, and stabilizing me and everything else. So that's why we call them large multi-joint exercises. So now, number 4, and these are all vitally important. So you may be in one of these or all of these that you need to work on, but number 4 is get enough sleep. So we've done a couple of episodes where we broke down the whole thing about sleep, where we talked about the the benefits of it, the problems of not getting enough sleep, what those numbers look like for hours of sleep and that kind of thing. And the science generally says 6 to 8 hours is the sweet spot. I know for myself, I feel best at about 7 hours. More is great, but 7 hours seems to be the sweet spot for me. So you should be aiming for somewhere in that 6 to 8 hours of sleep. And why is that so important? Well, because your body heals when you sleep. Your body grows in response to the resistance as you sleep. Your body produces testosterone when you are in your deepest sleep. So nobody wants to have low testosterone, but a great way to have that happen is not get enough sleep on a consistent basis. Right, so that one's pretty simple, but especially in the culture that we live in, that sometimes it's just go, 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 go. It's easy to end up watching something on Netflix or watching something on your phone and then going to bed late and maybe even still watching something on your phone while you're in bed and then sleeping for 3 or 4 hours maybe or 5 hours and dragging yourself out of bed and just repeating the cycle. It becomes this cycle that you're stuck in. And so it's going to have detrimental effects. And you can go back and watch those episodes that we talked about breaking down the detrimental effects of lack of sleep. But it's going to also have these detrimental effects to your overall muscle growth. So those are some things that you can just keep in mind and look into and understand this. It's possible to gain muscle in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, but it may just require you and I being a little smarter than when we were in our 20s, right? Because it was like you can go to the gym and just look at a weight and you'd add muscle in your 20s.
Well, and that old saying, with age comes wisdom.
Yeah, where...
So let's wise up.
Right? And that's also where we've talked about this as well, is when you're at the gym and we're talking about progressive resistance and the heavier weights and all of these things, is making sure that you have good form, because wisdom should be that your form is not such that you're going to get injured. Because I got injured in my 20s because I did things, maybe it wasn't horrendous form, but I cut corners on exercises, but I healed and recovered because I was in my 20s. That I'm not really interested in taking now, that might take me 6 weeks to get fully recovered from.
Right.
And especially if it's just because I was being dumb, right? I mean,
Well, I think when we're younger, we often train with our ego, and part of aging is understanding that leave the ego outside. Yeah. It's not about ego. It's about, you know what? Every time I walk into the gym, I push. I'm going to be 55 this year. I push my body hard, and I respect it. So I eat well, not to punish myself, but because I respect what my body does.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for every day I walk into the gym and I have a fabulous workout. There's gratitude. Yeah. So I don't take it for granted. Yeah. I push my body hard. I expect a lot from it, and I treat it well. I treat it with value. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of us get caught.
Yep. So take that and just, it's a good time to just be able to say, okay, I'm going to evaluate myself and see where I'm at in these 4 areas. Are they limiting my growth in the gym? Are they limiting my progress in the gym? Because maybe it's as simple as you getting another hour of sleep, or maybe you're just saying, oh, hey, I haven't really taken into account what my calorie intake looks like, or what my overall nutrition plan is, or maybe you thought you didn't have to do the multi-joint exercises, but figure out what that looks like. Maybe you're saying, yeah, I need to take the intensity up a notch, whatever it is, so that you can apply those things. And we're both living proof that you can easily, well, I don't know about easily, that you can gain muscle in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. So Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. If you haven't, please take a minute and subscribe to our channel. We are putting out regular content every week and we're going to be heading into multiple episodes every week. So you want to make sure that you've subscribed so you don't miss anything. And that way you'll get the protein pancake recipe also.
That's right.
All right. Thank you for joining us. See ya.
See ya.